thankful for another day. We thank you for the beautiful weather you've given us today, the past 2 days. We pray, dear Lord, as we look at potential hazardous weather tomorrow, that you'll put a hedge of protection around our community and those around us, that would be protected. We thank you for everyone here. We thank you for all those that work for the county, dear Lord, those that are emergency responders, the police, our county road people, all those involved in keeping us safe. We pray that you put a hedge of protection in as well. We thank you for this country. We thank you for the freedoms we have. We pray for guidance for all of our leaders for our country and our state level, as well as our local level, dear Lord, that before we make any decisions, that we seek your guidance and follow your will. We thank you mostly for Jesus and what he did over on the cross, the blood he shed for my sins. Give me where I fail for asking all in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first thing I have is to open bids. This is from J.E. Fiscal Company. This will be for the boiler at the Judicial Center. This is the only bid that we have. Alright, total bid is $59,489. We also have to replace the existing hot water pump and suction diffuser, which would be an additional $11,321. And then furnish and install a magnetic strainer, which is $10,975. And so this is for the boiler at the Judicial Center that has failed and needs to be replaced. This is the only bid. And both of those items from the state inspectors advised they need to be replaced. So you have 59,000. Yes, and this would be an immediate reimbursement. So when we pay, once the check clears, I submit for reimbursement to AOC, and then they will in turn send the money back. Yeah, it'll have to be all three. The boiler's separate, then you have the pump and the strainer, because it's clogging the lines, and Jeff and Tom have to clean it out, and they'll call Marco to come and clean it out even more, because we're only able to do so much. And we had 3 companies that came and gave us a bid. All of them knew that we were doing it, but they have not done it back. Does anybody else have any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to accept the bid as printed. Motion by Master Sutton, do we have a second? Who's second? Second by Master Cummins, all in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passed. Alright. Do we have any visitor comments? I see none. You should have a copy of the proclamation of Arbor Day. This was just put in your folder. Usually this is just something that I sign, but I wanted you all to see it. It was signed prior to me coming into office, as well as while I've been in the office. Does anybody have any questions? You should have a copy of the minutes from February 13th, 2025. I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes as printed. Motion by Master Cummins, do we have a second? Second by Master Fowler, any other discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Road Department update.
During the snow event last month, we ended up using 152 tons of salt during the Sunday and the Wednesday and Thursday. That's about half what we had on
Any questions for the road department? They did provide some things that, with the budget that they're in need of. Summer necessity needs, and then some potential, I guess you could say, wants. But I do have that list, and I'll get that typed up, but y'all are more than welcome to look at that as well. All right, you should have a copy of the 2024-2025 budget amendment ordinance. This is ordinance number 01-2025. I will entertain a motion to accept the ordinance as printed.
So,
Motion by Mashpert, second. Do we have a second? Second by Mashpert Fowler.
This will be the first reading of Lyon County, Kentucky, ordinance number 01-2025. I will be reading this ordinance in a summary form only. A complete copy of this ordinance is available in the office of the Lyon County Judge Executive during normal business hours. Lyon County, Kentucky, ordinance number 01-2025 is an ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment thereof. Whereas the County of Lyon has received unbudgeted revenues from miscellaneous sources, be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Lyon County, Commonwealth of Kentucky, as follows. Section 1, the budget for fiscal year 24-25 is amended to subsection A, increase or decrease the receipts of the general, road, and House Bill 1 KFD appropriation funds by $2,574,249.35 to include unbudgeted receipts from AOC reimbursement, FEMA, County Road Aid, HB1 state grant. B, decrease expenditure accounts, reserves for transfer. Subsection 2, the amounts adjusting the receipt expenditure accounts in section 1 are for governmental purposes. This has been the first reading of Lyon County, Kentucky, ordinance number 01-2025.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, the drug-free workplace policy, we're going to pass that under some changes that will need to be made, and that did not get printed with me being gone this past 3 days. You should have a copy of the resolution that will be 2025-1 medical marijuana resolution. And I will entertain a motion to accept that resolution as printed.
I'll move we accept.
I have a motion by Mashpert Sutton. Do we have a second? Second by Mashpert Cummins.
This will be the first and only reading of Lyon County, Kentucky, resolution number 2025-01. I will be reading this resolution in a summary form only. A complete copy of this resolution is available in the office of the Lyon County Judge Executive during normal business hours. Lyon County, Kentucky, resolution number 2025-01 is a resolution regarding the use of marijuana with or without a prescription by employees of Lyon County in response to Senate Bill 47. Whereas Lyon County Fiscal Court presently has a drug and alcohol-free workplace policy that prohibits the use of marijuana, cannabis, or THC by Lyon County employees. And whereas in 2023, the General Assembly enacted Senate Bill 47, which permits the use of medical marijuana by certain individuals for certain qualifying medical conditions so long as they possess a valid prescription and meet other legal requirements and resolutions. And whereas the General Assembly has also enacted KRS 218B-040, which states the following, and I'm just going to summarize, that's the definition section. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. Pursuant to KRS 218B-040, the Lyon County Fiscal Court exercises its rights under the statute to not permit or accommodate the use of medical cannabis. Therefore, an authorized card holder is prohibited from utilizing medical cannabis while employed by Lyon County Fiscal Court. This has been the first and only reading of Lyon County, Kentucky Resolution number 2025-01.
Anybody have any questions? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passed. So update on community building, the Little Leah's Jones building, the roof has been completed, the new ductwork is in, and the spray-in insulation has also been completed, and they will start to paint that this weekend. So that is moving right along. Right, corner vehicle. There it is, corner done. Has had some issues with this vehicle. I think we determined in the last meeting it was 1993, 97 model vehicle. And so he has requested, to purchase a new one, and he did, what I asked and got several estimates. I did not copy all of those, cause there are so many. But it does appear that all of those are over 40,000. I'll let y'all look through those if you'd like. You can split them up, but there's a lot. So it will have to be bid, but he is in need of one. It broke down on a deputy coroner going to Louisville. And so it was just a
He
listing.
had to spend the night in Louisville.
She had to spend the night,
Get
yes.
the vehicle fixed, come back. One of the main reasons I'm wanting a newer vehicle is, the medical examiner's office in Madisonville is closed, not knowing when it will be reopened, depending on when they get a new medical examiner for that station. So all autopsies has to be transferred to Louisville until further notice.
He did get new and used prices. Again, even the used is, over 40,000. So it will have to be bid even on a used, for that. That will be a budget line item that will need to be added. If not, potentially moved from reserve this fiscal year to make sure that we get it through the fiscal year. Does anybody have any questions on that?
So they'll have to be bid out, and
It could potentially be budgeted for next, or if it completely goes down, it will have to be, this year, and that would have to be taken out of reserve. Oh,
so it will have to be over 40.
over 40. That is the difference. I think they're still within. Oh, you're good. There's some, I think that's a used one there on the top, and a couple of others. They range anywhere from 40,000 to 65,000, give or take.
Yes, I contacted the dealership in Louisville that contracts all state contract vehicles. And unfortunately, I was disappointed there was not much of a discount from
No.
a regular dealership through them, even at state contractor price.
Number 14, that is also being researched. Some information was provided, but we still do not have all of the information, so that will be carried on. Number 15, the impound lot order. If you recall back, on January 9th, 2025, we did an order with the, executive order 2025-01. This was to split the impound lot with the sheriff's office 75-25. After further examination with the auditor's office, it's potentially gonna be a pretty big headache in some of the auditing ways. And so my motion will be to rescind that order until we can figure out with the auditor's office exactly how we need to do some things, and move forward with that.
Judge, may I speak on that? That is my understanding is too, we don't wanna do anything that causes our treasurer and finance officer additional work, there, but it deals with two areas there. It deals with carryover. It also deals with a state statute, which requires all funds, fee funds that come through the sheriff's office to be deposited in the county's general fund before you can allocate it. So the auditor said you certainly had the authority to do what you were doing, it was just primarily the method in the order that restricts us from doing it in that manner. So, until we can either retool the order to satisfy the auditors and that statute, I would hope that the court would still have the same desire to fund it in that same, to allow those percentages to remain. I just ask for some patience with that till we get clarification on what is best to recommend to the county attorney. I was not aware of that particular statute until the auditors showed it.
Everything was good, and then she called back, yeah, that's the order ain't where. So I'm gonna make a motion to rescind order 2025-01 until further, communication with the county attorney and the auditor's office, we can determine exactly how that order needs to be written. We have a second by Magistrate Fowler. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, you should see the Friendship Road CCDIP project and resolution. This is to replace the Friendship Road Bridge. $250,549 is what the county was awarded on that. The county's gonna have to pay about $28,000 in addition to that out of the road department budget. But I will entertain a motion to allow me to sign the contract as printed with the state. And they've also done an amended order for some language on page 2, paragraph 3. And then also resolution 2025-2, which is a part of this same project.
Going back on the concrete bridge.
So that'll be, they sent, the state came down and looked at it to begin with before I submitted 3 bridges, Friendship, Hopewell, Jack Thompson. And they came down and looked at what all needed to be replaced. This is a channel beam, channel 22 beam, channel beam 22, and it needs to be replaced. The state's eliminating all of those. So it'll be state price contract, piggybacking off of the state to replace these, and I think Harper's are part of it. There's several. The state did all the estimate, we sent it in, they sent it back, and we were awarded this 1 bridge. They've only awarded 10 so far, we were one of them. So to tell you exactly what's going back, I won't know until,
I'll make the motion.
we have a motion by Magistrate Cummings. Second by Magistrate Sutton.
Did Bobby move to both approve, I think I heard you say that you wanted to move to both approve the agreement and enact the resolution?
Yes, sir.
This will be the first reading of Lyon County, Kentucky, resolution number 2025-02. I will be reading this resolution in a summary form only. A complete copy of this resolution is available in the office of the Lyon County Judge Executive. Lyon County, Kentucky Resolution 2025-02 is a resolution adopting and approving the execution of a memorandum of agreement between the Lyon County Fiscal Court and the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet Department of Highways for the amount of $250,549 for the Friendship Road Bridge Replacement Project. Now therefore be it resolved by the Fiscal Court as follows. The Fiscal Court is hereby ratify and adopt all statements, representations, warranties, covenants, and agreements contained in said agreement, and does hereby accept the funds provided in said agreement, and by such acceptance agrees to all the terms and conditions therein stated. And the Judge Executive of the county is hereby authorized and directed to sign said agreement as set forth on behalf of the Fiscal Court of Lyon County, and the Fiscal Court Clerk of Lyon County is hereby authorized and directed to certify thereto. This has been the only reading of Lyon County, Kentucky Resolution number 2025-02.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, you should have a copy closed, and then also one from myself. Does anybody have any questions in regards to the two and the differences there? This is, all we have to do is present, this will be in the actual budget in April.
So we're gonna go with the one on the back, probably because it's not the car, right?
Yeah, so the one on the back also shows what is proposed by the jailer, and then what is proposed by the judge executive. And yes, the vehicle purchase has been removed, from that.
And that's what we do in the budget. I mean,
Yes, the second column that you see with the blue and the yellow highlight will be what was presented in the budget.
Are you talking about the 457, 130?
Yes.
Well, I make a motion to go with the 457,130 budget.
You don't have to, because it'll be in the actual budget in April.
So like the judge
All we
executive
have to,
said,
So we just.
he just has to present it to us in March by April first. Yes.
So you'll go back to him on that.
Yeah, I will provide him one, and then that's what will be in the actual budget. The senior center issues, so they have an ice machine, that has had some issues, and a cabinet that rotted. I have provided this information, this is just for y'all's information, I have provided the estimates for replacing the cabinet, and I've communicated with the PACS office out of Hopkinsville, to see what funding they have. The county owns the building, but we didn't put the ice machine in, that's part of their services. And so they're looking to see what monies they have, but she has provided a couple of estimates, their budget is only 5,000. One estimate is 45,54,34, and the other one is 3,500, but again, I'm waiting to hear back from PACS to see how much money they have or what they're gonna contribute, if they're gonna pay for it, and they're responsible for the ice machines. So let's just give y'all an update.
Just so that you know, we met with Tom Heath this morning, buildings and grounds, Bobby and I met. So there's two HVAC units over there also that could potentially go out anytime. I think totaling 29 ton, so two of them. He said you can estimate $1,200 per ton, so if both of those go out, you're looking at 40,000 there. So, I mean, those are expenses, I don't know to be in the budget, but those are expenses that we could incur next fiscal year at any time. They may last a year, they may last a month, I don't know, he doesn't
We don't
know,
know.
but they're on the last leg, both of them.
And on top of that, the sheriff's and the PDA office unit needs to be replaced. The clerk's office interior unit needs to be replaced as well. And,
Now, I was just need to build a new courthouse or something.
Said also that the downspouts here are needing to be
they
looked
need
at.
to be looked at as well.
And we don't know that any of the gutter people do 4-inch gutters anymore, so if they don't do 4-inch gutters, we'd have to replace them with 5 or 6-inch gutters, which would be an additional expense, so. But he recommends keeping the gutters if we can, if
Right.
downspouts can be made to fit the size of the gutters, to use the existing gutters that would be downspouts on. So all those were discussed today too as well, so. A lot of potential
Never ending.
cost.
Alright, the updated admin code, again, that's gonna take some time, and with me being in Washington DC the last 3 days, we will continue that one as well. You should have a copy of the interfund transfer, from the road department back to the general fund for $883.64. I'll entertain a motion to accept that interfund transfer as printed.
So moved.
Motion by Magistrate Cummings, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Magistrate Fowler. Fallon. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. You should also have a copy of the expenditures to date for transfers, and I'll entertain a motion to approve those as printed.
So moved.
Motion by Master Sutton, do we have a second? Second by Master Fowler. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, you should have a copy of the finance officer's report, clerk, the treasurer's report, and the sheriff's report. You'll deem those as received. You should also have a copy as well, if you'll deem that as received, of the audit of the Lyon County Fiscal Court year ending June 30th, 2024. All right, number 26, opioid settlement proposal. Before you get started, I'm gonna go ahead and do the claims. And, does anybody have any issues with the claims? Clerk, I see no issues with the claims. And I do have one thing, it's a thank you card. Lyon County Fiscal Court, thank you for your contribution toward the new lights at our softball field. You're also supported other improvements like Wi-Fi at our concession stand, which allowed us to start taking credit cards. Your support means a lot. I hope you will be able to come out and see the lights and take in a home game. Kathy Corsi, softball booster president, and then all the softball players signed up. All right, go ahead. That's the last
Thank
thing.
you, Judge. Before we get started, if you're here from the Hope Food Bank, would you raise your hand? If you're here from the Champions for Drug-Free Lyon County, I don't think he's able to be here. Nani's Place, City Representative Nani's Place, thank you. 56th Judicial District Drug Court, that's me and a few others. Lyon County Ministerial Association, you here today? Okay. I want to thank each of those groups, thank the court for putting this on the agenda. I'm humbled to be before you today and asking, it's not uncommon for people to come in this room and ask for things. As Mr. Sutton articulated, I think the need is great. Funds are low. I'm very well aware of that. I want to also recognize our staff. If you're part of our staff, raise your hand, please. Thank you. These are the men and women that do an outstanding job for the Lyon County Sheriff's Office each and every day. And anytime that I'm able to talk publicly or privately about one thing, it's that for the last couple of years, it may not ever happen again. For the last couple of years, we've been fortunate enough to turn over more fee money than is generally allocated to the office. And I think Judge Executive Smith will remember that we've had judge executives come to us and other county leaders ask us how we do that. And we're very thankful that goes to the credit of the hard work of those men and women right there. The opioid settlement funds have been coming in, trickling in at a rate by schedule, by statute, and how these court cases have been settled for the last 2 years. And there has not been any RFPs thus far by the court. To my knowledge, no request for this funding to the court. And we recently, when I say we, Judge Executive Smith and I recently met with Ms. Lauren Carr, KCO's opioid settlement advisor, presented a draft proposal to her for her review. we talked about her guidance on allowable uses, best practices, and oversight. And in the end, she ultimately gave her seal of approval on the proposal that many of you have before you. I sent it both electronically and hard copy to the court. And it proposes hiring one full-time and one part-time deputy sheriff for this proposed pilot project and continuation of our Badges of Hope program. I gave you a lot of information, and I know sometimes too much is overkill, but I wanted to highlight this problem and the other problems that we have associated with it. We've had Badges of Hope since about 2020. My friend Matt Carter was sheriff in Cracken County who began trying to get something like that going in about 2018. I got appointed, as this court knows, as sheriff in 2018 and was elected that year. Got appointed a little early, and we really got on board in 2020. And what happened in 2020 was, in a period of 4 or 5 days, we had 4 overdose events that led to the deaths of 4 people associated with our county. All 4 had been living in our county. One was not a native here, but the other 3 were. And that brought home really quick that opioids, in addition to methamphetamine and things such as co-occurring mental health disorders, continue to plague our county. And we want to put us in the best position to deal with those issues. So this project, not to rehash it, because if the public wants to see it, we have it, a copy of it, but you all have copies of it. It proposes hiring one full-time deputy, one part-time deputy. It expands our Badges of Hope program. It requires these deputies to focus on the opioid related objectives within the project and the proposal. They can be used for general enforcement. You can't buy cars with this, you can't buy guns, you can't buy things in this belt with it per se, but you can pay salaries to deputies with this money. And currently, as you probably have seen, and I received this information from the Treasurer's Office, the J&J settlement, there's $136,768.89 on hand available right now. And this money has been coming in. I think we were like just a little over 100,000 last June, and it's sitting there, and nobody's using it to my knowledge. And there's not been any approach to the fiscal court about using it. And if you will recall, each of you have been in my office in the past several months to talk about how we get help for this team of professionals. How do we get help for our community to deal with the service delivery, the demand on those services? Each of you have called me at various times, as your sheriff, as private citizens, not magistrates, to say, hey, and judge executives, to say, hey, I need your help with something. And we try to be very responsive to every citizen. And I'm just going to tell you, it's getting tougher to do that. It's getting real tough to do that. We have 7 shifts with only 1 deputy on duty at one time. And if that's ever been highlighted on how dangerous that is, it's been this week. A man with a great last name, same last name as me. I don't know if he's been released yet publicly, but I won't say anything else to identify him. But he was shot in the line of duty in a neighboring county. He was shot 4 times. He's got 2 bullets still in his body. And those incidents are becoming more frequent. And I've buried more people than I want to in my career as a police officer, which will be 30 years in April. And we owe it to these men and women that work in this office to keep them as safe as possible. Our agency really only has 4 deputies that answer calls for service. Can you raise your hands? Those 4 right there. Everybody else is court security or financial tax administration in our office. What's interesting is that we've been able to essentially have paid for all those deputies with the exception of 3. So the county pays for 3 of those deputies. But again, over the last 2 years, you've paid that. May not happen again, but you've paid that because we return to you that money. I don't know of another sheriff's office in Western Kentucky that's done that. Not to brag, but I mean, it's just almost unheard of. What we're asking for is the ability to utilize these restricted funds. And the budget that I propose to you is starting at May the 1st to pay the cost of government rate of full-time and part-time salary. And there's some program costs in there that we talked on this call about. The transportation is things that we're doing right now that we're not getting reimbursed for at times. And we're not talking about supplanting, we're just talking about continuing this program. If somebody has a co-occurring mental health disorder or they have a mental health crisis and they're agreeable to treatment, that is already in our policy and procedure, daily protocols to try to get that consumer help voluntarily, rather than contacting the county attorney on his time off or day off to, even though he's great about doing it, to involuntarily commit somebody. And we've been very successful in doing that. Badges of Hope program, as you'll see in there, we've been able to help 24 people associated with opioid since 2020. I took the names out for obvious reasons. We think that this gives the court an opportunity to use these funds legally and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of this project, and at the same time help these men and women out by providing some extra boost. We also believe that it's going to help our citizenry even more. We believe it will hopefully reduce some incarceration costs. As you all, I just heard, you're just looking at a budget that's pretty heavy with the jail. That's difficult for any county, but especially a county that doesn't have a jail, and I empathize with you all on that. If we can defer some of these people to treatment and have them picked up, or us transport them and get reimbursed through these funds, rather than having to take them to jail, I believe that's a win-win for our community. It's a win-win for our budget. It's a win-win certainly for that consumer. So I could sit up here and talk all night, you know that. I could talk bark off a tree, especially when it's something I'm passionate about. But I submit this to you, and I ask that you approve it for the salaries of 2 people. I believe that we could hire those people relatively quickly, and I think we could do some really good stuff for Lyon County and in our service delivery. It gives you all about 1 to 2 years to continue to deal with figuring out how to fund this county and its services, at least from our perspective. And I think that helps you as well. I don't envy the position you're in with respect to paying HVAC units, board units, and all that, but these are restricted monies you can't use for that purpose, but you can use for this price. Thank you.
Can I ask a few questions?
Absolutely.
I'm used to school money, okay?
Sure.
So I know that these specialized monies, I call them categorical monies.
Yes, sir.
Because it's
Restricted fund money.
Restricted. So I know, I read all through your stuff, and I appreciate all the information. Here's a couple of questions I have.
Sure.
So there's quarterly and annual reporting, correct?
I put that in there. That is something you all could direct. There is annual reporting for the county through the state.
Here's, as with all specialized, restricted, categorical funds, if those funds aren't used in accordance with those guidelines, somebody holds back, okay? That'd be the fiscal court this time. So how are we assured 100%, or how am I'm asking the question, I guess, how am I assured 100% that whoever reviews the spending of this money, I don't know who that is going to say, we've met all the guidelines, and the fiscal court's not responsible at the end for paying the salary or salaries of these people?
I think it's a great question. I think to answer your question, I think you have to go back to Carrie's 15291. 15291 is generalized in some of the elements of this law, and some of them are very specific. So I appreciate the opportunity to answer that. The Kentucky Opioid Abatement Advisory Commission is the know-all, be-all of these funds.
Is that who reviews all this?
Well, that's a great question, because the way I interpret the statute, and the county attorney may interpret it differently, if you are doing a reimbursement type situation, where you're going to the commission itself and asking funds directly from them, not part of the settlement where it is staggered out to the counties based on a certain percentage, then I believe they have more direct control over that money. When it comes in the manner in which it does, and it's allocated, I think we are on our own to make sure that it complies with the, and that's on me, I think, to make sure it complies, how we're using those funds complies specifically with these elements. And I think anybody can, any citizen, any group, anybody can make a complaint either to the commission or to a prosecutor if I don't do those. And so to answer your second part of your question about how we would track it to make sure we're in compliance with it, is I think we do it in two ways. So the two employees that would be hired, that would be, you got the scope, you got the objectives. We would have reporting forms for them. Their daily activity logs would be different than the men that you see sitting there. Their daily activity logs are generalized to regular patrol work, which these deputies would be doing. I asked Ms. Carr that specifically. I said, if we have them in regular enforcement periods when they're not doing this, can that be done? Yes, it can, but you have to prioritize the objectives with those particular employees. So they would have additional reporting requirements to me, and it would be up to me to monitor that as the appointing authority for the office to make sure that those things are getting done. I think in an office of 15 people, or in this case would be 17, I could do that. I think I've got a track record with this court and this county of making sure we're in compliance with the law and stuff like that, and I'd be honored to take on that task.
Well, the reason why I ask that is, as we've talked about money,
Sure.
if somebody did audit that, or not necessarily audit, but reviewed, and we weren't in compliance, and we don't have the revenue to.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I've got to be assured that we are in good standing with these opioid funds.
Mr. Sutton, I'll put it like this to you. Do you remember what my bond is that the fiscal court approves every year? What is it?
I can't tell you wrong.
It's $800,000. Do you know how much money we take in to the fiscal court? Yeah, a lot over that. And you've given me the authority and give me the support, and I would pledge to you it would be no different with this. I am audited, I dare say, more than anybody in this room through our office. I'm audited 5 ways. Most of the time, the fiscal court, treasurer's office is only audited once or twice at the most, and I'm audited more than that. So while I don't like it,
Special audit? Would this be a special audit?
no, I think this would be just like the auditor of public accounts would look at every bit of money that comes in every time and how we spend it. I think they would look for compliance in a regular auditor of public accounts situation. And we're not the only sheriff's office that is putting a proposal out there. Now, we're only one of 2 that I know of. But McCracken County, it's my understanding, has kind of led the charge a little bit with expanding their badges and whole program with these $7. There have been other sheriff's offices that have attempted to obtain some of these funds for different projects. Ms. Carr was very impressed with our proposal, and she thought that it's her job to try to keep us in the ditches, between the ditches, to make sure we don't get out of bounds, and that what we're proposing would both conform to the statute. But in the end, it's up to me to make sure that it's implemented correctly.
So one of the things I talked to Lauren as well, the opioid funds cannot be used for enforcement actions. That goes against the settlement agreements that we all signed.
Did you not hear what she said when she was here, Judge?
Well, and that's what I'm saying, I don't recall, because I wasn't in the whole meeting.
It can be, you just have to balance it with respect to.
So it can be on that 215, 291, section 5, or number 2, emergency response services provided by law enforcement or first responders.
Yes, ma'am. If you're
But they
going,
can't work, they can't do enforcement, so if they're doing opioid over here, and then they work the road over here, we can't have both, from what she was explaining to me.
I respectfully disagree. I do not believe that's the way, because if you'll turn to the scope of work, you'll go to, not counting the title page, you'll go to 3rd page of the proposal, section 7, scope of work. If you go to courts collaboration, and then if you go to section 8, you will see section 8, subsection F, subsection G. We were very clear with this car about the way that we have our system set up currently with the agency, with our Badges Hold program. And I'll just give you two very succinctly. We will get people help for addiction when they are not graduated to the level of dealing drugs and stealing property, breaking and stealing property, those kind of things. And I was very clear with Ms. Carr when I met with her that we have a bifurcated system there, whereas the abuser, the addict, the consumer that needs help, that hasn't graduated to those levels, the door we will help them in is the door to treatment. But we will vigorously, and it says in other places in this proposal, we will vigorously put the person who traffics, who deals this poison, who aids in the distribution of this poison in our community, whether it's opioids, whether it's methamphetamine, whatever it is, in the door to the penitentiary. And we make no apology for that. We met with her right there, I met with her right there before you came to the meeting, and there was no ambiguity in that conversation. And I asked if that could be done. She did say, historically, that is not able to be used for enforcement. But when we explained it like that, she said, we have no, I don't think we have any problem with that in this case. And when I first talked to you, and not pick on you, I believe, just like you did, that we could not utilize these funds for certain things. But when I found out that you could, and honestly, I will tell you this, I'll always be honest with you, but honestly, I think that you're going to see the scope of these funds potentially be opened up down the road for use in other primary enforcement situations. I learned that from the Attorney General's office just this week. And that has to deal with drug task forces and that type of thing. Operation Unite, as you're familiar with, is already doing a lot of programming that is similar to some of this scope of work, but they're also engaged in enforcement, and they've asked for some of these funds. So I was very specific. I wouldn't have brought it to the court had I not had that clarified with Ms. Carr. She said she'd be happy to come to the court anytime. She just couldn't come today. When we do it in the manner in which it has been presented and approved through her office, I think we can do it. If we were just utilizing this to supplant these men, I think you're exactly right. I don't think we can do it. But I
So
think
are they gonna have a detailed job description?
they will. It's pretty much,
Days, nights, what's the,
it's pretty much here. It'll be to cover the county in the areas that we need to cover. However, if we have one of these parameters, this program met, they're gonna be the ones that'll have to come out and do that. You know, they'll be the ones, and we can change their schedule around where it's not a lot of overtime implications if we need to, by reducing off or what have you. But it's definitely gonna be, they're gonna take that Badges of Hope program over. They're gonna receive additional training. We've already contacted some entities where we can train, get some training with these folks specific to opioids. And they already all had the co-occurring disorder type training through CIT. And I'm proud of that.
one thing I know, the county attorney doesn't have the proposal. So, to vote it today, we cannot. I think we need to meet with him, I need to meet with him, the sheriff, along with Warren second concern is, Sheriff, I'm gonna give you some correct figures, cause what you have, you go to your opioid settlement funds page where you have J&J, CVS, Walgreens, et cetera.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so the $136,768.89 on hand is not accurate from J&J. That's the total of what we have, including interest. So from distribution and J&J, it's only $68,425.76.
So you're saying we do not have $136,768?
I'm breaking it
Oh,
down.
okay, I'm sorry.
Because you have it listed straight as J&J. It
When
is
I
not
met with Ms.
on-
Carr, she gave me J&J, and then the treasurer gave me the number we had on hand, so I thought that was the only one we got.
It's not all J&J.
Go ahead.
$68,425.76.
And is that from,
That's J&J or Janssen and distributor, I'm sorry.
okay,
Then from CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, Allegren, Teva, and McKinsey, these were all payments that were made, is $66,417.59.
so that, are you saying that doesn't add the $136,768?
That's our total, that's from a second settlement.
So,
So you have $68,425.76. Then you have $66,417.59, which should total $134,843.35.
okay, the number I received was, again, from the treasurer's office, we may have been off,
And then we have
$2,000.
interest in there, which is the
So-
2,000.
the other, okay, thank you.
So that, I just wanna make sure you knew that wasn't all J&J. We've already got part of that CVS
Sure.
Walgreens settlement that you have below that.
But you have at least a minimum of $134,842 on hand.
Yes.
Okay.
I have not signed anything for Kroger. I don't
So-
have anything projected for Kroger. I haven't signed anything on behalf of the fiscal court.
So where it says projected, all those figures were retained from CAECO.
Yeah.
Those were all contained from the opioid settlement advisor.
For how many years?
So part of them are up to 2038. She indicated to me the day she was here that we could get lump sums that are higher than the original total sooner than that being extrapolated out. And I guess, and maybe the county attorney knows this, I don't want to speak out of turn about this, are there other settlements that are out there pending potentially as well?
I do not know.
So, by my figures, and if I amend it from what you just said, Judge, so instead of the potential for 285,566, potentially about 283 and some change. Would that be about right?
I'll give you all of these.
Okay.
You got your pen ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so you have the 68,425.76,
Yes, ma'am.
66,417.59.
Yes, ma'am.
So the remaining of the distributor and Janssen, and this would go through 2038. The grand total of everything that should be received, that goes through 2038. It's $291,237.69. That's if we get every single payment up to year 2038.
Right.
On one of the distributors, they've already cut it, that we've received. We're supposed to get, you have to go back and look at that projection sheet. Some of them were 12,000, 13,000, 10,000.
Right.
We got $2,495. So it's not, that part's not guaranteed. Then for Walgreens, Teva, Allegren, and CVS, because Walmart has been paid in full, and so has McKinsey, so there's no more payments for them. The total that we would get from the grand total, that's everything, is $232,258.08. That includes what we've already received.
232.
$258.08. Okay, and that is through 2037.
Yes.
So what we would have left to receive from those ones that I just listed would be $165,840.49. And what would be left from Janssen and distributor would be $125,397.20.
and I would agree, that this is not something that is for a sustainable period of time, and I appreciate that, Judge. Those numbers are different from what the CAECO.
Cause they don't show everything.
I got you, yes, different from what the CAECO advisor gave us. I'm sure that, I don't have any reason to doubt any of that. But what this does, I think, for the court, it allows us to take this program and run with it, for potentially, you know, a couple of years, and have a dedicated reimbursement stream, you know, for that. My question was, can the county pay up front and receive this money as reimbursement? Because there's two different ways by statute you can get funds with this, okay? And that question hasn't been answered. I saw you shaking your head. You think that's not accurate?
No, and the part of what they were saying is that's if they apply for the state funds, that would be a reimbursement.
Okay.
Ours is what we
What we
get, is
get.
what we get.
But my question is, I guess maybe an auditor question, if a fiscal court votes to allocate that money, that they're empowered to do by statute, can they, based upon anticipated revenue, we do that every year, right? Well, I tell you what the tax, PBA comes in and she tells you what the potential for, the tax revenue generation is. You all pass a budget based upon that anticipated revenue, and then we, you know, we amend it as we go, so to speak. Can we do the same with these funds? I don't see in the statute where it says you can.
That one I would have to make with the county attorney alone.
So I think this potentially provides dedicated funding stream for a couple of years for us. And if you all would be so inclined, at least one for sure, but potentially depending on the way and the manner in which these settlement funds come in. I did learn from the Attorney General's office that there's some other type of funding mechanism that's out there. I was told not to get excited about that. It has something to do with these settlements, but that's not been acted upon, I guess, by General Assembly at this point. I guess the AG has some discretionary power on some of this, and then the General Assembly has some, type of say-so in that. So I don't really understand how, I guess not all these settlements are the same, and that's a little bit confusing. So I think it gives the county a year or two to try to, would help us, and then hopefully our funding situation will be in a better position than you're getting a bargain with your sheriff's office now, because we're not costing you anything, but we need help.
I know we only are gonna get 21,000 for 2025, estimated approximately 21,965.73. You add that to what we already have, you're about 160,000, and your budget's 158, so that's only 1 year.
Yeah, the budget is not
county doesn't
conservative.
have
The
a fund
budget's a little more higher than what I think it would be, but I put it in there so the court can see all that.
Because within a year, that money will be spent, and then we wouldn't be able to continue it, and so then.
And it will only trickle back in at a very slow rate after that into those other amounts.
Yeah,
Is that
about
what you
20,000 a
understand?
year, give or take.
I'm not trying to put you on any more additional pressure, but it's when each of you met with me, you said, we want to help you if you find the money. You've got money sitting there that you're not using, nobody else has asked for. You've got a sheriff's office that hasn't cost you a dime in 2 years.
So 158,000, that's reoccurring every year.
No. It's, that is the total for May and a year. May, June, and then a year. So it's about what you have now
About 18
each year.
months.
Yeah, about 14 months there.
You could drop it down to about 107,000,
So,
and that would be the continual.
excuse me, once that runs out, then what we do?
Well,
I mean, I know
yeah.
you're looking at us trying to look down the road.
That's exactly right.
And see where the money goes, but if the economy goes south, Yeah,
Hey, that's a big deal. Let me explain something to you. We've sat here needing help for a long time. And I have made no bones, I don't mean to put this on you all, because I know the other fiscal court that was here primarily did this, but for 11 straight years, this county took a reduction in property tax rates. That can't be understated. And every day that we don't try to turn that around as a county, it's not just the services of the sheriff's office. It's the services of that road department. It's the services of the county clerk's office. It's the services of the convenience center, the parks. I mean, y'all got a tough job. I don't know how you do it, but I'm the only one that I know of that's come to you to say, this funding's here, let's use it.
Let me interject something.
Go ahead.
You said previous fiscal court, since we've been on that fiscal court.
You've
that's
had,
not been-
I know that.
Okay.
But would you agree with me, Mr. Sutton, that dug nearly a $1 million hole into this general fund for this
Well,
county?
you're 100% on that. I just want to make clarification, it's not this fiscal.
I wasn't trying to say that. I said the previous fiscal.
I'm not trying to be argumentative.
No.
I'm trying to be clear.
And I-
This one has done the right thing.
I'm not in, you all have had to try to right the ship, but as some people don't know, the PBA and I do, and I think you all do as well, you cannot tax your way back into having enough funds with just real estate, with property taxes. I don't know. Some people believe that. The way our sliding scale is, it's very difficult to make up that kind of difference, is what I'm saying.
So I asked the judge just earlier, how we would pay for something after this year. And, you know, of course, taxes is the only thing, occupational tax. You know, but now she's telling me we have to go to the cities before we can even do that.
We have to get approval to stack, my understanding. So we have, and just, if anybody's more pro law enforcement, in my opinion, sitting on this bench right now, I feel as myself. I did your job for 23 years, 21 on the road, 2 in the radio room. I have all the respect, the support. You may not see it, but it's there. But if I don't have the funds, I don't have the funds. We might be able to do it for a year, and then the funds aren't there, and the court can't sustain it. You got a coroner that needs a vehicle. The jailer's asking for an increase in budget. The road department just brought a list. The facilities maintenance just told us everything that's wrong that needs to be replaced. And so it's gonna come down to asking the public, what do you all want? Do you want an occupational tax? Do you want insurance premium tax? Do you want your property rates to go up? I'll be more than happy to provide you the budget for the county, and you tell me what you want me to cut. Because I just spent 3 days in Washington, meeting with our congressional leaders who looked us dead in the face, 23 of us, and said, we're not getting any money from the federal government for at least 2 years. Then when that happens, it affects the state. The state's already cut the gas tax. Then they're looking at doing what we call an unfunded mandate to the coroner's office. They're gonna increase the salaries on those on top of deputy coroners, and it's a trickle effect. We paid 1% of our roads last year out of 317. We're replacing, I'm applying for every grant that's out there to try to get the county money to fix things. And submitting all of our FEMA reimbursement for all the tornadoes. I'm doing everything I can to try to get us the money. At the minimum, we could look at, and I would be potentially in agreement, at a part-time to see how that goes, to make sure that we're following everything, because the one thing that Rich told me and Lauren Carr from CAECO is the fiscal court will be held responsible and will have to testify before LRC as to how the funds were spent and if they were spent incorrectly.
Y'all not having faith in me?
What's that?
Didn't say that, did not say that, but again, we might have to start little before we get there. And I don't think it's something we can do today until we can meet with the county attorney and look at this and with the CAECO attorney to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
I agree, the money's just sitting there, and I think it ought to be used. And I think I have all the confidence in the world in you. But my concern is not necessarily the current funds. Mine is projecting out past. Because So that's the reason why I was asking you these questions earlier.
That's all of our concerns too, we wonder how you're gonna fund our office.
I wanted to make sure from here to you that we're using funds per, because I had to get that clarity in my mind.
It's not a problem, I understand it, respect it.
I've dealt with these funds enough through my career, and I don't wanna reimburse somebody for something.
Sure.
Because I never had to do that as superintendent, but there was always back in my mind, if we don't use these appropriately, we would.
Absolutely.
So I had to get that clarity in my mind. My concern is more projected years out on what we're gonna do, because, you know, you've seen the budget. Our current revenue stream cannot support an additional staff or two. We gotta look at other sources if that's gonna be the case.
I agree 100%, I
Uh,
understand, don't envy you at all,
But I just know our current revenue stream is not gonna do it. We've gotta look at other avenues, and I was not aware that we've gotta get approval if we look at things from other
Yeah.
entities. I didn't know that.
Can't stack, they
I
can
had no
deny
idea.
or approve it.
Who can do that? It's
So-
Cities.
so, you know, I wanna say this last
County's
thing.
holding back for, that's what I say, holding back for everything, we have no authority. We have no authority. I mean, that's wrong,
I just, the last thing I'll say is, these men need help. I need help.
100%.
I agree.
And I'm trying my best to help you find it. And I'm trying my best to help you find it and give you time to figure this out. But I would be remiss if I didn't say this before I sit down and host. We've been talking about this for a long time. And if you're waiting for a certain date on the calendar before you pull the trigger on something that's unpopular, then we're not the leaders we should be. I don't like taxes, I'm a Republican. I don't like taxes any more than anybody else. But I know what it costs to do these services, and I know the good work that you all done with cutting this. If those came in here today, I predict they would not find very much any fat to cut. Because it's not there. You've already done it. You've already done that heavy lifting. But now is the time we gotta get off our rear end to fund these services before something bad happens. And you know what I'm talking about.
I agree.
I'm gonna say something, if I'm allowed.
Yes, ma'am.
As PDA, I deal with everybody I have for over 20 years that comes in and is upset over their assessment going up, which is gonna increase their taxes, and for years, the county did not take the increase. They did not, you can't rob Peter to pay Paul, you can't put out more money than you're taking in, so it is. And here we are. But what I get from people, and I meet with all the taxpayers, I've met with some of you all over your assessments. Everybody knows and accepts that they have to pay taxes in this county. As long as those services are provided to them justifiably and done well, they don't have a problem paying it. It's when the money is misappropriated and misused. As the economy is suffering, his job and all their jobs are getting harder because those people that don't work are gonna come when you're here at work and take from you, they're gonna take from me, they're already doing it more and more. They drive by, they case the places, they have nothing but time. In my office, if I allocate X amount of dollars, which I'm state, to pay someone a raise, they have to sign an agreement that if those funds are not there the next year, it's gone. Period. I'm just saying, when you prioritize your needs, which I haven't had to call them to my house. I hope and pray I never do. But some have to. You want them there when you need them. I mean, that's a priority. So, I don't have a problem as a taxpayer, and I don't have a problem sitting here telling you after 20 years of being with the people that come in, and nobody wants to pay more taxes. Nobody does. But we expect those services to be provided, if we do. So, and on what's priority, you know. So I don't think your taxpayers are gonna have an issue salary with opioid settlement funds would require that their sole duty be opioid abatement. And she lists out tasks that would be applicable. She has not told us anything that would allow enforcement or would allow our officers to patrol or to do anything outside of the scope of opioid. That's what she's communicated to our office.
It's not what she said right here.
Right, and so there seems to be a disconnect there, and I feel like, just as a finance officer, somebody's gonna have to answer for that miscommunication or the misunderstanding, because either what she's told our sheriff's office is correct, or what she's told us is correct, but they're two different answers. And so when it comes to us having to turn over documents, proving how we spent the funds, we need to make sure that those funds can truly be used. And we're actually gonna get, to be able to use those funds. Otherwise, we don't have a way to pay for this deputy. And so I feel like there needs to be more, conversations with Ms. Carr to clarify exactly, in detail, because she's telling us something different.
So I have an email to her with the exact same proposal that you all have, that was, given the green light of approval with her. She said here, we talked about those things, so, I welcome those discussions, but I can just tell you, there was no ambiguity when we talked about it, and she'll recall that because she had never heard of, she noted that she'd never heard the moniker that we use and how we separate the abusers and addicts from those that truly need incarceration. And so I welcome those talks. I don't have a problem with that. Sometimes it's really hard to get a meeting around here, but I'm willing to do that.
I think she did, communicate to our office that if it was a part-time type position where the officer was being used part-time on opioid, that half of the salary could potentially be used through opioid funds, but then again, the court would have to use just regular general funds to fund the other hours that are not spent on opioids. So I just think we need more information, from the state, exactly how they're gonna allow us to handle these funds.
I know several agencies, I work in the county, they've asked for overtime and were denied for that. And so I think there is still some concern. Somebody's always gotta be the first and see how it goes before they start approving others. And we may be that first, but I do think more conversations and meetings need to be had before this. And again, like I said, at a minimum, at a part-time, to see how that goes and see how that works. But as far as, I'm open. We've got the property tax, look at an insurance premium tax, which would only be for the county if it was anything over, or under 10, because the cities are already at 10. And then an occupational tax, both cities are at 1.5. And I would have to verify, I think the most we could go is even 1/2, and then we have to, actually have permission to stack that from both of those cities, to look at all that. Everything I do for the county. It's not about, I know what you said, a particular date on the calendar, winning an election. My goal is to hopefully leave the county in a better position than how I found it. As far as the election year, it was this past year, looking to see what the federal government was gonna do. What they told us 2 years, you can guarantee nothing, and see how it trickles down to the state and some of the things. You got the email, our COPS grant was funded, or froze immediately. The county has to pay for that until those funds are released. Thank goodness it was released rather quickly, but I could potentially see more of that coming, until they get everything sorted out. And then looking to see what the state's doing. We used to be able to get some funds, that paid 100%. Now there's a law, I don't recall which one, because I've read so many. I'd have to go back and look, that we're gonna be responsible for 10 to 20% of that now, where we used to get 100%. So it seems like we're getting hit with, like I said, all the unfunded mandates. And I'm open to suggestions, ideas. I have no problem with that, and I don't have a problem having a public meeting to ask any of that for insurance premium, occupational, or property tax. Because it is, all of us, the taxpayers, are paying it, but I'm also responsible for how that money is spent. And last year, you all know, I had the budget down to 60,000 without having to use reserve. And I don't think that's ever been done. And so I've trimmed it, in my opinion, or cut it as much as I can potentially cut it without starting to cut other things. Or finding that revenue stream.
I don't think you can cut it. I mean, I don't think there's any more to cut.
I don't either, I empathize with your position, but I just want to implore to the court, whether these funds come from KCO, whether who's right or wrong, which version of that she has provided us is right or wrong, this court has to figure this out. We need help, and we need it yesterday, and I'm respectfully saying that to you, please, I hope I'm not shouting. I'm very emotional about it, but these people, they need it, and our county needs it.
I mean, I know when you and I started, well, you started before I did, there was probably 38 road troopers. Edible PD had 6 at the time, and the sheriff's office was a little bit less, if not right about the same amount at that time. And I know all those numbers have dwindled.
Yes.
I won't disclose those numbers.
KSP's
for
still
safety
way down,
reasons.
Edible PD's not gonna go over 3, so they're already 1 short. That was some of these guys back up. This one right here, especially, it's just dangerous world, dangerous situation. And for no more we pay them, it's
only gonna get worse.
It's
It's
only
only
gonna
gonna
get
get worse. Nobody wants to do the job.
I'm like the judge, I'm overlooking all, everything, everything's on the table as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, we can.
And I think you all know that each one of us up here in court will back you 100%. We know that you need help. But it's also called money. You know, also gotta help us, but you'll
We
be
need
us.
a place to try to figure a path, that's all I ask. You know, if we, whether it's this or something else.
I think me and Janie's been talking about this for what, 5 or 6 months now,
Yeah, if
trying to
not
figure
longer.
out. I mean, it's not like we're not trying to.
Yeah. I mean, I've had conversations with the sheriff, had a conversation with the deputy last week. So, yes ma'am, I'm sorry.
If I may say, I do ride-alongs with these two especially, and soon to be Shannon as well. And they're dads that go home to their families. And when they're out there with no backup on these country roads in these dangerous situations, I implore you, I understand, we're talking a lot about money here. I don't have the answer for that, but I do know that they cannot continue forever like this. They can't. Life is too short and their children are too precious.
Jeannie is our chaplain, in case you all don't know that. Thank you.
I don't know that the sheriff knows this, but, he was out on domestic in the housing authority last week, bicep. Troopers coming up in that field, I lived by the house. Go to the housing authority, when I got there, there was another officer coming on duty. And I did the same thing to the judge, when she was on the road.
I mean, we all.
It's hard to walk alone.
Many nights kept the radio on because we knew there was only one out, and when we heard something, we got dressed and we went.
But we just gotta do better.
Yes, I'd like to ask, you know, if the sheriff is correct and this funding is here, that as magistrates, y'all will commit to this, correct? As far as this program?
Well, I mean, meetings will have to be conducted to make sure that we do it. And
Well,
the biggest thing is
he's
knowing.
correct is what I'm asking, yes.
Knowing, but again, it's only for 1 year, and then after that, what do we look at? You know, the funding will be gone, it will be wiped out within 1 year. You'll take all of it within those 18 weeks, and there will be none left.
The big elephant in the room, I think, is we hope it gives you enough time to finally do something to help this budget situation. You're not paying for a sheriff's office right now. even though it's on paper, it's coming back to you. There's not another sheriff's office like that in western Kentucky.
Sam, to answer your question, from my perspective, if I am assured 100% all these answers are resolved, all these questions are resolved, and I'll commit this for a year, I mean.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will, but I've got to be assured of all, I've got to be assured of that.
Bobby, Mr. Cummings? Okay, thank you.
The biggest concern will be what's after that. I mean, we're good for the year, but then,
Well, I understand that, and I know we just talked about the experience between you two, and I've been doing it just as long, and crime's only getting worse. And we can sit here and say, who's most important in the room? It's not us, but we're the one answering calls when you dial 911. We're the ones, the deputy just got shot 2 days ago, answered that call, okay? And that's something y'all need to remember. Because nobody wants to have to bury an officer.
no, I just walked the law enforcement memorial all over.
I can say this, and I think Christie will bear with me on this, is I am the oldest member up here. I was in the previous administration.
We're trying to pick you out.
But I can say this, since I've been here, the county has lost a lot of money through TVA and the land between the lakes. And plus, we used to get severance money of coal trucks coming through our county. All that's gone. And I don't know how much money that was, but it was quite a bit of money.
I've doubled, the forestry services, federal government's assessment on that bill this year. Or did it last year, actually. The school did not get any more increase in funding. The county did not get any more. So that's a federal government issue. But when it comes down, we can't control those things, but what we can control is what's in our pocket here. And there was a thank you for lights at the park, and that's all well and good, but as a taxpayer, I'd rather have more law enforcement than lights at the park. That's just a general statement. That's, when it comes down, and I know those are different funds, different accounts, but you can do amendments and move money, and you're gonna have to prioritize what's important to the county. If we're that broke. And I'm just gonna tell you, assessments have leveled off. We still see a little bit of an increase, but the best of the best is behind us when it comes to funding.
That being said, I do work by myself most nights. Y'all get a call, I'm coming. I come to that call, I don't go home. What are you gonna do then? That's one less person on the road. Where's that money to put somebody back? Because people ain't knocking on the door to do this job. We're making $25 an hour. You know, my life, to me, is your life worth $25 an hour or more? Mine is. I got 2 kids I gotta go home to. You know, say all these what ifs. What if the AC goes out at the senior citizen? What if we get hurt? What if we die? What are you gonna do then? That's all I gotta say.
I have a question, if you don't mind. You had mentioned something about hiring a part-time potential officer. Are you thinking strictly for opioid?
It would only be opioid.
Only opioid. So.
That's what the funds can have to be used for.
And the opioid, you're speaking to a program?
So there's multiple things you can, some of the programs they've done in the past is the DEA Take Back, which they do year round. They can teach programs in the school, they can teach programs in the public. What are some of the other ones? They can transport to facilities, so like community outreach and engagement, pre-arrest diversion, opioid overdose, response, or deflection to the treatment, and it can only be to that response. Substance use prevention efforts, and then building the connections to the treatment and the recovery centers.
You know, I just kind of feel like there should be somebody in the community that could help with that versus taking funds that we could utilize to support the police officers. I live clear out on the other side of Lamasco, but the reality is if somebody's breaking my house and I'm dialing 911, I'm gonna be dealing with it myself. By the time they get out there, if it's somebody who maybe has been able to take us out, then they're gonna have to deal with that person with one person, you know, nobody supporting them. So something, I'm not a long-time resident here. We just moved here, May will be 2 years, bought our house 2 years in September. But I can tell you this is the most caring, kind, compassionate, loving community, friendly community I have ever lived in, and we've lived all over the country. And when I listen to this man speak in a program that I'm involved in, that I volunteer in, and hear the statistics of what these officers have to deal with, and the lack of officers, I was shocked when I heard how many police officers we have in this community, as big as this community is. So I don't have a problem paying some higher taxes to know that when I call clear out on the other side of Lamasco, I'm gonna get more than one officer showing up. That somebody else is gonna be there to help him, help take care of me. So by all means, have a public forum, please, get that on the roster to talk about raising taxes in some area, because Officer White is absolutely 100%, and I don't think there's anybody here that would say, as well as yourselves, that he's not. We have got to boost our police force, because the reality is drugs are coming down the line, and criminals are coming down the line, and we need people on the front lines who can take those people off the street. Versus, I will volunteer to go into the school and teach drug courses, you know, on whatever it is that they need to teach that. I have the time. So, I don't know, is there somewhere in the community that we can get those programs in, get citizens involved in those programs to free up those funds for additional officers?
So the funds that are currently used in the school is through the Drug Free Communities grant that I wrote. This is their second 5-year program. They can only do it for a total of 10 years. That program funded the school resource officer for the first 5 years. Then we were not awarded the grant for years 6 through 10 the next year. So they actually had to lay that position off and fund it through the county, if I remember correctly. The grant would not pay for it anymore to have the school resource officer. It also pays for a drug-free coordinator, which is Miss Daniel, and then champions, the school resource officers, and the sheriff can correct me if I'm wrong, they teach those programs, like Too Good for Drugs, they do Truth and Consequences, Red Ribbon Week, they do all of those programs within the school. So if you want to join as a volunteer or as a resident of Champions, by all means, please join. I used to chair that board until I got into this position, and they are always looking for volunteers and people to help in that